Tonight I had a discussion with a friend of mine about who is the person in me who's making decisions and making plans for my life. So the subject was decisions, and we were talking about exactly the same things that I recorded before too. When we were born and we raised in a family and study and all these things, in the majority of people is a similar personality or identity. That means we call it worldly. So what I mean is, for example, who am I? Am I the person I see in the mirror? I am a man who is 60 years old, who is born in this country, who has this child, this family, who is so tall, who has so much money, who's making so much money. So the worldly identity is what I see in the mirror and where I was born and what I have. That's my worldly being. And who makes decisions? For a worldly person, his benefits based on his worldly identity. So I make decisions. The person who I see in a mirror and who is born in that country, who is so and so years old and has that material stuff, this worldly person is making decisions. It doesn't matter about finding a partner, about what to buy, where to go, what to do. And the people who they have their spiritual experiences and that becomes strong, that spiritual experiences and that spiritual identity makes decisions. If they want to find a partner, if they want to go somewhere, if they want to decide about something, their spiritual identity makes decisions. And that spiritual identity that's strong in them is not what they see in the mirror, is not this body when I'm old or I have accident or I have a sickness and I lose or I live my physical body. So these people, they have different experiences and they believe and feel and know that it's my spirit, is something else. So these people make decisions based on their spiritual experiences and understanding and feeling and belief. So spiritual people, for example, it doesn't matter they have a lot of money or they don't have a lot of money. Their goal is to share that inner experience, the love, and what they experience in themselves to share with the society. If they have more material tools, for sure they can share it with much more people. But if they don't, so they share it with their environment. And the worldly people, based on what they have and what they see, and that worldly identity, so they make decisions based on who they are and what they have. And whatever they have, they use it to satisfy that worldly identity, that worldly person who they are, my body and everything else. And worldly people, they think after I leave my physical body. That's it. That's the end of the life. Or based on a religion or something else, they believe in something. So what they have, and that's the worldly stuff, they use it as tools to satisfy that worldly person who they are. But the spiritual people use what they have to serve the environment, to share their love with the environment. For spiritual people, it's not about what I have is me, it's about what I feel in me that is me. And based on their spiritual experiences, they believe or they feel very strong that after I leave this physical body, based on their experiences, they feel where they are going to be and what's going to happen. For example, experiences like spiritual connections with other people, with lost ones, or with others. The spiritual connections, the spiritual experiences. And as I said before, my experience is the best way, or maybe the only way, is to simplify your material life, that you have more time to study and search and learn and experience and understand. So I hope if people listen to what I said, they would contemplate and think about themselves, who they are, and when they are going to make decisions, who is making that decision? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is the age and anything else? Is that the worldly person? My experience is if I experience my spiritual being, it doesn't mean that I don't have this worldly needs, like getting hungry or everything else, because I have this physical body. But the difference is what I experience, the difference is the person who is spiritual being is controlling his life. He has different goals, as I said, to share his love with the environment, with the society. And he uses his physical body and his worldly identity, the worldly being, the worldly person. His leader is his spiritual. His spiritual being uses his body, his worldly being, what he has, to satisfy his spiritual being. But people who they don't experience their spiritual being, their goal is to satisfy their physical or their worldly being. So their goal is who they are to satisfy. That's the worldly being, their physical body and everything, whatever we call it, worldly being, like a man or woman and the age and everything else, culture. So this is the difference. But spiritual person has this physical and this worldly being, but he uses what he has as tools to share his love with society.